Welcome to the Max Retirement Show, where our focus is to help you retire and maximize your retirement story. And Social Security is a key part of helping to maximize your retirement story because it's a key part of your retirement income. And the decisions you make of when to claim it can make a big difference between keeping more of it or giving more of it to the IRS. And that's our main focus in today's show is Social Security and taxes. 3 common mistakes, how a couple of the mistakes could potentially cost you big, and then how to help avoid a couple of the mistakes as well. From there, we're going to dive into our retirement chart of the week. We've got some turbulent markets going on. So what should you do? Should you be jumping ship and finding the best performing asset class, or maintaining the current course? And then last, we're going to talk about our listener question from Ted about buying a vacation home. For those that are new to the channel, I'm Scott Sierens, a certified financial planner and owner of a retirement planning and investment management firm where we partner with people to help them retire, help them increase their retirement income, reduce their taxes, and optimize their investments. And Social Security is a big part of helping to increase your retirement income. However, the taxes on your Social Security, or how your Social Security might be taxable, can take away from some of your retirement income. So it's important to know the mistakes when it comes to Social Security and taxes. Now, all of this might change by the time you watch this video, as there are some proposals in with Congress. You can learn more about that in last week's show, and you can find that at maxretirementshow.com. Now, the first mistake when it comes to Social Security and taxes is believing that Social Security is tax-free. You see, your Social Security might be taxable. Imagine this. You have 2 cups. The first cup being your taxable income, the second cup being your Social Security. Well, the more that this first cup fills up with wages, IRA withdrawal, pensions, and actually a factor of an amount of your Social Security, the more that this first cup fills up and goes past certain thresholds, guess what? Your Social Security cup then starts pouring into your taxable income cup, meaning that part of your Social Security adds into your taxable income and therefore increases your overall taxes. Actually, up to 85% of your Social Security can potentially add into your taxable income. Now, when a lot of people finally kind of let all of this sink in, it can get pretty frustrating. And that's why it's really important to do an income plan and a tax plan. You see, when we do that with our clients, we find that it helps bring a lot of clarity around Social Security, so that way they can make some informed decisions about when they want to claim it and other tax strategies that they might be thinking about utilizing to help reduce their long-term taxes. Mistake number 2 is not planning for the impacts that Social Security might have on your Medicare premiums. You see, let's just say 85% of your Social Security, again, is pouring into your taxable income. And now we're watching that taxable income and it goes over other thresholds like the Medicare IRMA thresholds. What is Medicare IRMA? Well, that is increases to your Medicare premiums based on your income, taxable income from 2 years prior. This is why having a proactive, tax-efficient withdrawal strategy is so important, and creating that before retirement is even more important. You see, you might not be able to avoid Medicare IRMA forever. However, you might be able to avoid it for a few years having the right withdrawal strategy in place. The third mistake, and in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes, is not strategically timing the claiming of your Social Security with Roth conversions. Let me walk you through an example very similar to a client couple we're currently working with. So in this example, we have a couple age 65, both 65. They have $1 million each in each of their IRAs, and they also have a brokerage account. Their questions are, should we start claiming Social Security at 65? But the other goal that they have is, how do we lower the long-term taxes that they'll pay to the IRS? So let's just go with claiming at 65. If they decide to claim at 65, and just for easy numbers, let's say each of their Social Security benefits is $3,000 a month. That's $72,000 a year. And if they throw Roth conversions on top of that, most likely 85% of that will be taxable, meaning out of that $72,000 of Social Security, $61,200 is going to add into their taxable income. But let's say instead they delay taking their Social Security till age 70. Well, by delaying the Social Security, they are now keeping $61,200 out of their taxable income, allowing them to convert an additional $61,200 from their IRAs to their Roth IRAs at a much lower tax rate and in lower tax brackets. So by just thinking about the timing of this Social Security with the Roth conversions, by delaying it, not only have they allowed for that extra $61,200 per year of Roth conversions, but now if we take that times the 5 years, that's an extra $306,000 that they've been able to convert over to Roth. So by delaying their Social Security, they've increased the amount of Roth conversions, the amount that they're able to convert to Roth at lower tax rates, lower tax brackets, therefore potentially helping them reduce their lifetime taxes. At the same time, letting their Social Security grow till age 70, therefore increasing their lifetime income from Social Security. Now, all of this has lots more factors that are built into it, right? Based on longevity, based on how much you've saved up, and based on what your overall goals are. So if you're looking to optimize your Social Security, you might find our free guide about Social Security helpful. You can get this at maxretirementshow.com/Social Security. Again, that's maxretirementshow.com/Social Security, a guide to helping you optimize your benefits, potentially helping you earn more income, hundreds or thousands of dollars throughout your retirement. While Social Security is a key part of retirement income, which is a key pillar of a max retirement blueprint, another key pillar is in investment management, helping to grow your money for the future. And in today's volatile times that we're seeing in the market, I thought this chart of the week would really help, because a lot of times I see investors make some major mistakes of trying to chase high performers, or panic while the market's down, or while the market's down, trying to find the next high performer to stuff all of their money into. And in my opinion, chasing these high performers is a fool's game. And I have a very powerful chart to show you just why that is. And instead, you want to think about and practice diversification, which will help you then towards long-term success when it comes to investing. So take a look at this chart here. It's from the Callan Institute. Now I know there's a lot of small print, so we're going to link to it in the show notes. Now across the top of the chart, you have the years 2005 through 2024. In each column, you have asset classes like stocks, bonds, large cap growth, small cap, all of the different asset classes, cash, real estate, etc., all represented by different colors. Now the highest performing asset class is at the top of each column, with the lowest performing asset class at the bottom of each column. So the biggest takeaway when just looking at this chart is rarely do you see the same color across the top of the chart 2 years in a row, or 3 years in a row, or 4 years in a row. Actually, I don't even think you see the same color across the top of the chart more than 2 years in a row. The next thing is, and this is why I say that trying to chase the higher performers is a fool's game. Trying to guess while the market's down which is going to be the next high performing asset going forward is potentially just going to lead you to poor performance from an investment standpoint. Let's just take an example here on the chart. If you look at real estate, just because it sticks out, it's the red color. In 2021, real estate was the second highest performer. But take a look at 2022. It was the lowest performer that year on the chart. So if you would have said that, hey, looking at 2021 performances, you're going to stick all of your money into real estate, well, you're going to see pretty poor performances the following year. And this is why, when you see the random mix of colors throughout this chart, this is why diversification becomes so important. Because diversification means that you're never overexposed to one of these colors. Instead, it means that you're exposed to all of these colors. And that's what helps smooth the ride throughout your investing career. So hopefully that chart helps you kind of take a different thought process on, okay, based on what's going in the market today, should you be shifting things around? Instead, you want to have an investment strategy that exposes you to all of the different asset classes, and then you want to stick to that investment strategy. Now, if you don't have an investment strategy, I highly recommend getting one in place. Last on the show is our listener question from Ted about buying a vacation home. Ted, great timing on this question, as we were just helping a client out with this last week in regards to their interest in a vacation home. So Ted's question is, we've always dreamed of having a vacation home to visit several times a year once we've retired. I think we can afford it, but I'm not sure where to get the money from. Do I take out a mortgage, a HELOC, or do I take from my retirement savings? How would you advise me? Well, Ted, first and foremost, I think one of the things that caught my eye in here is you said you think you can afford it. We really want to make sure that you are comfortable and know that you can afford the vacation home. A lot of times when people are looking at a vacation home, they just look at the cost of the vacation home itself. It's going to cost $300,000 or $500,000 or whatever it might be, but they fail to take a look at the annual costs that go along with that vacation home. So we want to make sure that you're also factoring in taxes, insurance, maintenance, travel to get to wherever this vacation home might be. So one cost we have is just the cost of the purchase of the home, or maybe the down payment. We'll talk about that in a second. And then are you also factoring in the annual cost that you'll have for having and maintaining this home as well? So once we have that, well, which route do we go down? And basically the two different paths that you have, one is going to increase your monthly or annual expenses, and the other might just reduce the retirement paychecks that you're able to cut from your retirement savings. Let me explain. The first one increases your expenses. So if you go down the route of just putting down a down payment and having a mortgage, well, the mortgage is going to increase your monthly expenses. The money that you're able to take out from your retirement savings, is that enough? Do you have a retirement income plan in place where you know that you're able to take out enough to fund those increased monthly expenses? So that's one route to go down. The other is maybe you just pay for the house in full, but when you do that, you're going to take a large chunk out of your retirement savings, out of your investments. And by taking that large chunk out, it gives you less to work with, meaning you've paid off the home, but now since you have less to work with, the amount of the value, the retirement paychecks that you're able to cut from what's left will most likely be less. Now, working with, I guess that your question is then, how do you do this? Well, you got to kind of go down those different routes. Interest rates are pretty high, so maybe you just want to pay the home off. This is what we work through in discussing with clients. And just working with a lot of clients that have saved up in $1 million, $2 million, $5 million or more, a lot of times they just say, hey, I have the money, so I don't want the debt. I don't want to pay the interest to the banks. So if that's the case, you're going to go with the pay it in full, which comes to the next key part as you go through this, Ted, is strategically taking the money out. You want to do it in the most tax efficient way possible. So that way, as you take the money out to pay off this house, you're trying to reduce the amount of taxes that you're paying on this money. So do you have a brokerage account, or is it coming from your IRAs? If it's coming from your IRAs, should you maybe start spreading the withdrawals out over 1 year or multiple years? So a few different things. One, running your retirement projection just to make sure that you can afford the home, and the money that you'll have coming in will be enough to maintain not only your current monthly expenses, but the future monthly expenses of this home. And then the second part is strategically taking the money out, whether it's to pay the down payment or to pay the house in full. So that way you're helping to keep your taxes down as much as you possibly can. So Ted, hopefully that gave you enough kind of background information in regards to your overall question to help you go down the right path. So thanks for submitting that. You can go to maxretirementshow.com, click on any of the videos. You'll see an area where you can submit your questions. Hope that you found today's show to be of value and helpful. If so, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite channel so that way you get notified as we're coming out with new videos each and every week.